Okay.
Are we live?
We are.
All right,
Is it
so
unmuted?
it's unmuted now. So tonight's meeting is the reorganizational and the regular meeting, so it will run a little bit different. It might seem a little bit clunky. And I'm gonna turn it over to Liz, who will open the meeting.
I'll call the meeting to order, and then we'll do the roll call. Mr. Nevins?
Here.
Mrs. Jessel?
Here.
Mr. Luke?
Here.
Mrs. Shake?
Here.
And Mr. Rahman?
Here.
All right. We'll stand for the pledge. It's over there.
Oh, sure.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and now we will entertain nominations for the president of the Board of Education.
I'll make a motion to nominate Courtney Jaskula for president of the Board of Education.
I'll second.
All right, I think everyone gets to vote, right? Is that how we do it?
Everyone gets to
Yeah,
vote.
so
You'll have to
Charlie.
call it though.
I vote for Courtney.
All right,
And I vote for Courtney as well.
all right.
I vote for Courtney as well.
Courtney?
Sure, I'll vote for Courtney.
All right, so it sounds like Mrs. Jaskula will be our new president of the Board of Education. Have your oath here. If you'd like to swear in.
my hand up or anything.
We need a Bible or something. It just says, I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the President of the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District according to the best of my ability. You sign that, and I'll turn it over to you.
There we go.
Okay, now I will entertain nominations for Vice President of the Board of Education. I'd like to nominate Bill Nevin.
Thank you.
Second.
And I would also like to vote for Bill.
Yeah, I guess everyone
You
should
could
vote.
call it.
Charlie,
Yeah,
Yeah, put me down, Bill.
thank you.
you vote for yourself, Bill?
I will take that vote.
Okay, I vote for Bill.
All right. Looks like we have Mr. Nevins as our next Vice President of the Board of Education.
Oh,
You
yeah,
get to read that.
I do it. All right.
I'm President.
I'm going to be clunky tonight also. All right, I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the Vice President of the Board of Education according to the best of my ability.
I do. Thank you.
Do I sign or do
Pretty
you?
sure you're person.
Second?
The next one for superintendent.
For a limited time.
Yes,
Fairly. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the superintendent of the Menands Union Free School District according to the best of my ability.
I will.
How many days got on?
Mike, then.
Nope, this one's for you. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of New York, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the district clerk according to the best of my ability.
Thank you. And I'm guessing you do need to sign this.
Okay.
Just a quick point of order. Do we have to actually make a resolution for your position and Joanne's and the follow clerk positions and vote on that?
No.
Or is it just?
No, it's just an open.
It's just an appointment. Fair enough.
Okay, I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the district treasurer according to the best of my ability.
I will.
She's gonna hurt herself. Are you the deputy treasurer?
Liz, there are resolutions on here. Should we be doing resolutions along with?
Just because the superintendent makes the recommendation, it's the board that actually solidifies the appointments, correct?
Should we
So
wait
under
till we get there to
appointments,
do
no,
these?
the oaths of office were good. So,
But the appointments of
The
the clerk.
Go along
Right.
with the
Yeah.
agenda,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure that we're supposed to make
Yeah,
resolutions
you're right,
on that,
Bill.
so. Maybe we can just back do them and then the oath has been done, but I would just make
Yeah,
sure
just
that we
go back
read the
through the few,
resolutions
yeah,
and put them
that
in.
makes sense.
You good with that?
Yep.
You wanna
Okay,
do
so
the
we're
first
on
one, or-
item 4. Item 4, letter A, we have the appointment of the district clerk. The oath has already been administered. Can we get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby appoints Liz Menteply as District Clerk for the 2023-2024 school year.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. And she's already taken the oath, which takes us to item B, appointment of district treasurer. Can I get a resolution?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby appoints Joanne Moran as District Treasurer for the 2023-24 school year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries, and we've already read that one, which takes us to the appointment of deputy treasurer, item C. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby appoints Kathleen Wiley as deputy treasurer for the 2023-2024 school year.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries, and we can read the oath. Kathleen Wiley. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the deputy treasurer according to the best of my ability. Right here.
We do have our claims auditor on next. I will give him his oath when he's here next.
Okay. Oh, so that's the last
Yep.
one
I
that
have
needs
one
an
for,
oath.
yeah, I'll do Charlie after the meeting.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. That's all done.
But I do think you need to read the claims auditor.
Okay, then that takes us to D, appointment of claims auditor. Can I get a resolution?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby appoints Michael Wolf as claims auditor for the 2023-2024 school year per the enclosed contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, and he will sign his oath at a later date. That takes us to item E, other appointments. We're not going to read these all out. We're going to do it as a consent agenda. So if everyone wants to take a minute to look over the list, make sure they're okay, and then kind of get a resolution.
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby approves the following individuals to carry out the appointments A through X as outlined below for the 2023-2024 school year.
I second.
Any questions? Then all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries. Item F, Committee on Special Education Appointments, same thing, there's a list. Take a minute, we can do them as consent agenda. And can I get a resolution?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby appoints the Committee on Special Education A through H for the 2023-2024 school year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item G, Committee on Preschool Special Education Appointments. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby appoints the Preschool Committee on Special Education A through C for the 2023-2024 school year as listed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, motion carries. Item H, Audit Committee Appointment. Be it resolved, nope, I'm gonna ask for a resolution.
I'll do that for you. I'll do that for you.
Okay,
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby appoints the Audit Committee A through C for the 2023-2024 school year.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, motion carries.
You can read. I'm just saying,
Oh,
you want to read one and go to town? Why don't you read the long one that's coming up?
Yeah, we saved that for you.
One of the benefits of being president, I get to pass those off. All right, I, Policy Committee Appointments. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby appoints the Policy Committee A through G for the 2023-2024 school year.
And I second.
Just a comment about this. The list includes, we got some additional parent representation this year in case Christy and John, I'm sorry,
Which is great.
which is great. Christy and John have been on the committee for a while. We invited them to continue to stay on if they want to, but as their children will age out of the district, we told them they don't have to if they don't want to. We'd like to thank them for their service. Everybody is still on the list just in case they want to continue to participate. We have a second, so all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Takes us to impartial hearing officers. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District, sorry, I'm just reading that here, will follow the state regulations when an impartial hearing officer is needed for CSE, CPSE, and be it further resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby authorizes the board president and vice president to appoint impartial hearing officers when necessary to comply with the due process requirements of the IDEA and regulations of the Commissioner of Education.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Takes us to number 5, Board of Education designations. And we have the schedule of the meeting. Can I get a resolution, please?
Courtney, let me just make 2 comments there. The 2 off days, just to point out, the April 24th is a Wednesday. That's because we tried to align the April meeting with the BOCES budget vote that we are required to participate in, so we moved the meeting to that night. And the May meeting this year is also on a Wednesday because the budget hearing is typically held at the May board meeting, but that budget hearing has to be within 14 days of the vote. So if we had it on our regular Monday, we would be outside of that window.
Does anyone have any questions on any of the dates? Not, can I get a resolution?
So you want a resolution for the regular monthly
Yep.
meetings? Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby designate that the regular monthly meetings of the Menands School Board of Education will be held on the following dates as listed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item B, official bank depositories. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby designates KeyBank, Pioneer Savings Bank, and NICLAS as the official depositories of the district funds for the 2023-2024 school year.
Second.
Does anyone have any questions on that one? No. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, motion carries. It takes us to C. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby designates the Times Union as the official newspaper for the 23-24 school year.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Takes us to 6, Board of Education authorizations. A, certification of payrolls. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby authorizes the superintendent of schools and, in the absence of the superintendent, the school business manager / district treasurer to certify payrolls for the 2023-24 school year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item B, authorization for grant application. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby authorizes the superintendent and or their designee to prepare and submit applications for federal programs and to accept federal monies that may result from the filing of such application, with acceptance being subject to final approval by the Board of Education. The person designated to execute public law for the district will be the superintendent of schools.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Takes us to C, purchase orders. Can I get a resolution, please?
Thank you, that's all right. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby authorizes the superintendent of schools and the deputy purchasing agent in the absence of the superintendent of schools to approve purchase orders as the purchasing agent.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Takes us to D, contracts. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education authorizes the superintendent of schools to approve contracts for the district up to $10,000.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Takes us to E, petty cash fund. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby authorizes the establishment of a general fund petty cash account in the amount of $100 and designates Liz Mentiply as the custodian of the petty cash account. And be it further resolved that the superintendent of schools must approve expenditures from this account.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. F, memberships. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby authorizes the district to hold membership in the New York State School Board Association, Capital District School Development Association, New York State Association of School Business Officials, and New York State Council of School Superintendent New York State Association of School Personnel Administrators.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Takes us to G, meetings and conferences. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby authorizes the attendance of the superintendent of schools at district superintendent's meetings and authorizes the superintendent of schools to approve the attendance of other employees at appropriate conferences, meetings, and/or events.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. H, budget transfers. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby authorizes the superintendent of schools to make necessary intra-fund and inter-fund budget transfers to a limit of $10,000.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Takes us to I, mileage. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby authorizes the mileage rate for approved use of a personal vehicle for school business to be set at the fixed rate allowed by the IRS.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Takes us to J, investment of funds.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby authorizes the district treasurer to invest funds as they become available. The treasurer shall report such investment at the next regular scheduled board meeting following the investment action.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Takes us to K, standard workday for ERS. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby establishes either a 7 or 8 hour as the standard workday for its civil service employees in the 2023-2024 school year, and will report days worked to the New York State Local Employees Retirement System based on the timekeeping system or the record of activities maintained and submitted by these members to the clerk of this body, A through M.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. That takes us to 7, bonding of personnel. Item A, can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby approves the bonding of the personnel and the limits listed below for the 23-24 school year. The school business manager, district treasurer, and deputy treasurer are bonded in the amount of $1 million. All employees are bonded in the amount of $1 million.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. 8, other approvals. We have A, Board of Education readoption of policies. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby readopts all board policies and its code of ethics currently in effect, as required by law and as recommended by the New York State Education Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. That takes us to 9, move to start the regular meeting. So I'll make a motion to, we're already in public session, I guess, right?
We don't have to do any motions, that's why we moved to this format.
I did type this.
Okay, that's fine. We'll call the regular meeting to order. That's okay. We'll go to B, approval of the minutes. Can I get a resolution for that, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District accept the minutes of the June meeting.
Second.
Are there any questions about the minutes? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. 10, discussion items. We have the code of conduct. So Dr. Long, would you talk about that one
Sure.
for a minute as to why it's on here?
If you recall last year, well, over the last couple of years, we're doing a significant policy overhaul, but last year we did a heavy lift of our code of conduct. We made some significant changes to it, moving it from a traditional punitive code of conduct to a more restorative code of conduct, and that was implemented last year after public hearing and board approval. One of the items that's in that new policy and is required to be in there is an annual report to the Board of Education. So Jen and I will share with you that for the first year, we think it has been a pretty good transition. There is definitely some work to be done to get further acclimated to restorative justice practices. I think the addition of Kathleen is going to be a big help there with the experience that she brings. And we discussed it with the policy committee when we met last week. Given the newness of it, the fact that it was for the most part successful, a caveat being we need to work with our students and families around cell phones. And we're going to see some other policy action in a few minutes around that. Jen, would you add anything to that update?
I would just add that with anything new in its first year, I think there are some learnings and growings that happen. And, before we would recommend any changes, I think it's important to have a second year, really continue to work through it with staff, our students and families. And then I think if there were changes that the policy committee wanted to make, that we'd be better positioned to make those recommendations at that time.
So we give the annual report, the policy committee is recommending, based on the conversation we had, to make no changes at this time. If the board agrees, then we're done, it just rolls over based on that action we took just a few minutes ago. In the event we were to recommend changes, just in case that comes in the future, that would require a public hearing and then 30 days of public comment before we can make those changes.
Does anyone have any questions about the code of conduct or suggestions, changes?
I was just wondering about, does this vaping, all that stuff come into the code of conduct?
Vaping is covered explicitly in the code of conduct, and that's one of the changes that was made. It called out tobacco in the past, but it specifically speaks to vaping now. The piece that's not spoken to necessarily specifically in great detail is the cell phone piece, but there's action later tonight in a separate referenced policy that should help us tighten that up a little bit. Other questions from members of the board? I'm going to move out of the way so you want to
That's very worried. Okay, the next item is cafeteria update. I think Joanne. Love that.
Yep. So I wanted to give everybody a little bit of information. I think the school lunch fund has been certainly one of those areas that we didn't talk about a lot this year. So I wanted to give everybody a comparison. And what I did, I picked 3 years to give you guys data on, and one of them was the current year that we sit in, 22-23, but I would like to preface that with those are unaudited figures right now. They'll change a little bit, but nothing drastic. And I compared that to last year, the 21-22 school year, and then I wanted to give you information on the last regular year that we had was 18-19. To give you an idea of, where the counts were, what kind of activity we had. It's not going to be a long presentation, a lot of slides, but and I think in a bar graph, it's just visual. You get to see what the numbers were. Again, 21-22, obviously that orange color jumps right out because that was a year that everything was free because of COVID, okay? And then we'll go down to the next one. Oh, yes, sir.
On the bottom, 1 through 10, is that what?
What month?
Yeah, is that like months?
Yep, 10 months. I gave you,
Okay.
I should have done that.
I got it. No, it's all good.
Yep,
Like
10
September.
months of the school year, you
Okay,
got it.
perfect. Thank you. I just want
Number
to make
one
sure.
would be September, goes right through, and it's funny, there's peak months. May's a long month, you always see May as a high volume, March, and the rest they some peaks and valleys.
No vacations.
Yeah, that's right, and so there's reduced meals. Again, that number 2 there, which is October, that can be high sometimes because as students come back in September, the levels of where they were when they left in June as far as their status as free, reduced, or full price, that stays in effect for a full 30 days in the next year before we either have to do a direct certification run or get the applications in. That's why we send them home. They've got 30 days to get them in. If somebody is an application approved person, they don't give us their application in 30 days. At the end of that, on that 31st day, they would go to full. That's how that works. Let's go to the next one. And again, paid breakfast meals, again, no surprise there. You see 21-22 was the outlier there, just to give you an idea in comparison to where we are in 22-23 is the blue, and then the 18-19 is the gray. And what I think is really interesting though is our numbers for all meals continues to go up. 22-23 was higher than 18-19, so that's a good thing.
Is paid meaning family paid?
Paid means that that person is subject to pay the full price for the meal. They're not in the free status or a reduced
I
status.
thought everyone was free in 21-22.
That's why it's.
They were, but we tracked them. We still have to track them as what they would have been. They were reported as free, but we still had to keep track.
Makes sense.
Correct.
Just before we go too much further, I thought there were no more reduced lunches. Lunch.
No, there
I
is.
thought it was free or you pay.
No, and it's funny because somebody else asked for that too. There are still reduced. Reduced is a quarter, just so you have an idea of what that cost is. It's a quarter for everybody. There are still reduced lunches. All right, so there's our free lunch meals. Again, I keep putting in new slides. I keep hitting enter and getting myself a new slide. So. All right, there we go. All right, we're good now. So we go to free lunch meals again. Just gives you an idea side by side. You can go to reduced lunch meals. There's nothing jumped out at me crazy. There are some information I want to share with you as we get to the end of this. And then you go to your paid lunch meals. And then we're going to go to labor costs. I wanted you to see what they were in 18-19. It was 62,000. 21-22, 66, and again 22-23 is 78-23. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I wanted you to see what the food purchases were, and again 68 and 21-22. We knew that was going to be a little higher because everybody got meals for everything, whether it was breakfast or lunch, snacks, everything. So it was a little higher. And those all others, when you look at material and supplies, that orange bar, we had a much higher than we have in the past because of packaging, things that had to go home. How are we going to get our meals home? And that was we delivered them to the classrooms. Yep. And then all that product was used to get the meals out. Now, school lunch revenues, I wanted you to take a look at that, okay? Look at that orange on federal assistance and the 21-22, we knew that was going to be a high number. But right now in 22-23, we're still up from where we were in 18-19 at 90,000 in federal assistance. State assistance is much lower. That's what you're going to see there. Other assistance, what those 2 years, there was only 2 years in what the state of federal assistance, and it was for supply chain demand, and districts couldn't get their food in, so the government gave us additional money. We did not, I do not anticipate to get that again in 23-24, but we never knew it was coming until after they sent it to us, so we could. Student sales, you want to see where that is, 38,000, 17,000, and that could be other meals, it could be a la carte, things like that, snacks go into that. And then other sales, what you see on the far right, they would include adult meals or anything else. Second meals that a student might purchase would go into other sales. I think what's interesting to see is the fund balance. Now, I want to show you, this shows you straight 5 years worth of fund balance and where we are. I have that in yellow, again, because they are unaudited. I will make some slight adjustments to some of those figures as I, finalize the 22-23 school year. But I wanted you to take a look at this. And if you want, we'll go down one more. When we talk about fund balance, I always talk about if your revenue is greater than your expenditure, it's going to be a positive impact to your fund balance. Same with cafeteria, but the difference here is that our expenditures are always, except for the 21-22, higher than our revenues. And I'm showing you this without the transfer from the general fund. This is before that 35,000 that we put in the budget every year to help us offset the cost for cafeteria. That's where we would be. We would operate in red. It's what it is. We are not different from most other schools. We're not. But I wanted you to see this.
The transfer from general fund though is I forget when we do this. Is that transfer calculate the cost of the employees, or is that just food and equipment related transfer?
A transfer from our general fund into the cafeteria fund is for whatever it needs to be. So we budget that and we bring it over. In 1 year, you'll see, I think we didn't, if you go back up one slide, you'll see that the transfer from the general fund in 21 didn't happen. We didn't need it. We have done it every year since. Now what that does, it allows us a little bit of play in the meal pricing equity calculation that we have to do, which is what we're going to talk about now.
not October, in August, and if we have to increase our meal prices. Generally, that $35,000 lets us keep our meal prices lower than what the state says they have to be. So we will look at that in
We
greater
increased
detail.
meal prices only once in the 10 years, I think.
And if we can offset those prices, we don't have to hit that threshold. But other schools, even Menands to some, our price per meal can't be less than what the federal government gives us for a subsidy, right? Unless we make it whole, we do with that 35,000. I think that's the only way we've gotten out of it, but I'll do a deep dive into that for the August meeting. And again, I want to just talk about a couple of things. Cafeteria funds a little bit differently. There are limitations on all the fund balance. For cafeteria, the state calculates it at an average of 3 years worth of operating costs, or 3 months worth of what our operating costs are that we can't have. Mind you, we got that letter this year. If you remember, we talked about it. And we purchased some equipment. We purchased a new convection oven. We got a new slicer. And we got a new toaster. Let me tell you something, that toaster is a piece of gold. Everybody loves it. We had to work so hard to get, when we have toast for breakfast, it was crazy. Everybody loves that one. So that's what we did. One of the things that I think warrants attention is that we still have a staff member who's full-time in the cafeteria as part of the ARP grant. We have to prepare ourselves to bring that person in the cafeteria fund or in the general fund, whatever it might be. And that's going to be for the 24-25 school year. Again, as I spoke to already, our expenditures are more than revenues without that general fund support. So I don't see that general fund support going away in the future. And CEP is based on the direct certs. Now again, Dr. Long has spoken several times about where we are with CEP. We are just under that 40%.
39.76% doesn't round.
It does not round. And what we have to do is we're required to pull our direct cert several times throughout the year. We'll be doing it again. I believe it's an August date. It might be a July date.
Typically, the CEP application is due at the end of June. Because the federal government is considering moving that threshold from 40% to 25%, they've extended the application deadline to August 31st. Jen has all the information and has it on her radar. We did just hear from Hinman Straub, who works with our BOCES as lobbyists, that they are thinking there is not going to be movement on that change before August, but they are working to verify that information and the source that it came from.
Because CEP is Community Eligibility Program. It's basically if enough of your kids qualify for free and reduced lunch, the federal government will provide a free lunch for your entire district, even the kids that don't qualify, the whole district gets it. And we're like right under that threshold, and they talked about reducing it, which would qualify us.
And our percentage has gone up tremendously in 10 years. When I started, we were at 6% free and reduced lunch.
And if they allowed us to use our families that fill out the application, then we would be there. But it's only the direct certs, the programs that we get notified of from the state. And again, I will update these figures. I'll give a general price where we are right now with our meal pricing in August, where we should be, and what we need to do for that.
So what is the threshold for getting the free lunches?
Right
40%.
now, it's 40%, but they're
Yeah,
considering
above it or below it?
We're below it by
39.76.
0.25% or something.
And when you go in to fill out the application, if you put in your numbers, and if it doesn't hit that 40%, you can't get any further in the application. I tried really hard.
So you said you cannot round that figure?
No.
You can't, no, it does, it's right, a spreadsheet, you plug in your numbers and it calculates it for you.
And I'll give you some more information in August when we meet as a board again. But I just wanted you to see where the numbers were, what the comparison looked like. I thought it was interesting. And that's all I have.
Didn't we provide food for everyone this year anyway?
We did from January on.
Was it through the end of the year?
Oh,
Did
yes,
we meet through June?
yes.
Because that was that
We had-
surplus and there were certain ways that we could use that
Right.
surplus and that was.
We're probably gonna get spanked again for having a higher surplus, but that's okay. I wanted to put the 35,000, I wanted to transfer there, so it was there to help us offset whatever costs we need to offset.
And are we thinking of, and you can maybe answer this more as we get into August,
Mhm.
are we thinking of raising prices to offset the $35,000 that we've taken from general fund? And
Okay.
why?
Well, if we were gonna offset, or excuse me, increase our prices, it would be because we did not qualify for the meal pricing equity. There's a whole calculation that we have to do, and I will go through that with the board. So if I can say to the state of New York that $35,000 kept us where we needed to be, we don't have to increase our prices, but I'll go through that calculation in great detail, not,
Last
Just
question
explain.
on the
Yeah.
food purchases, was that the total the district spent after the federal adjustments to money and all the stuff that comes in
Yep.
free and subsidized?
that's what we had to purchase, correct.
Awesome.
That's it.
Thanks, Joanne.
Thanks, guys.
All right, 11 business matters, non-action items, A warrants. Anyone have any questions about any warrants?
I did not.
Bill? Okay.
There was a question, it was asked and answered, correct?
All right, so business matters, action items, 12A, contracts for approval. Can I get a resolution, please?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
Be resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby approves the following contracts A through K.
Second.
Does anyone have any questions on these?
I will mention that there was one that had an old name on it, a prior board member that is not on the board anymore. It might be fixed by now.
I noticed that, yeah, when I was going through it, I took it off.
Cool.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Takes us to B, business office, action items, preliminary BOCES, AS7 contract for 2023-2024 services. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby approves the attached preliminary AS7 contract for the 23-24 services.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. C, the final BOCES, AS7 contract for 2022-23, that's last year's final service contract. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby approves the attached final AS7 contract for the 2022-23 services.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Already, Longo.
Yeah,
Motion carries.
hope you guys don't sleep.
Sorry, Alongo, yeah. Item D, BOCES cooperative bidding school year 2023-2024. Can I get a resolution, please?
Whereas the cooperative bidding purchasing service is a plan of a number of public school districts in the Board of Cooperative Educational Services of Albany, Schoharie, Schenectady, Saratoga County area, Capital Region, BOCES in New York, to bid jointly equipment, supplies, contractual items, as well as cafeteria commodities, including but not limited to food, beverages, and culinary items. And whereas the school district named below is desirous of participating with other districts in the Capital Region BOCES in the joint bidding of the items mentioned above as authorized by General Municipal Law, Section 119-0. And whereas this resolution shall not preclude the school district named below from separately bidding equipment, supplies, and contractual items in those instances where only a single school district is seeking to make a purchase. And whereas the school district named below may at its option notify the Capital Region BOCES that it elects not to participate in a particular bid, and whereas the school district named below wishes to appoint the Capital Region BOCES to advertise for, bid, accept, tabulate bids, and award bids on their behalf. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the school district listed below hereby appoint the Capital Region BOCES to represent it in all matters relating above and designate the Daily Gazette newspaper as the legal publication for all related cooperative purchasing bid notification. And be it further resolved that the Board of Education of the central school listed below authorizes the Capital Region BOCES to represent it in all matters leading up to and including the entering into a contract for the purchase of the above mentioned commodities and services, and be it further resolved that the Board of Education of the school district listed below agrees to: 1. Assume its equitable share of the cost of the cooperative bidding. 2. Abide by majority decision of the participating districts. 3. Abide by the award of the BOCES board. And 4. And that after the award of the bid, it will conduct all negotiations directly with the successful bidders.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Alongo. Item E, donations. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District accept the donation as listed. Dr. Long donated 3 books for storyboard.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Dr. Long. My bad.
Motion carries. Business item, action items F, disposal of items. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approves the disposals as attached.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What's a gator skin ball?
So I have a question
What's
on this.
Gator
A
skin.
gator
ball.
skin
The
ball?
dodgeballs,
Yeah, the ones that.
Like foam on the
squishy
inside.
And the kind of like.
leather
Plastic.
ones.
I've never heard that term.
Me either.
I just have,
Audrey has.
Okay.
Your kids have.
I have a question on this one. When we dispose of items, the electronic items, do you have a method of disposing them?
We do. There's a outfit we work with. It was there's several out there, but the one we use is recommended by South County, who we do all our technology agreements with. And they come and they make sure everything is wiped clean if it has anything to be wiped clean, and dispose of it securely. Sometimes we do get a small sum of money for it, depending on how much we have at a given time. But it keeps us from having to incur any cost to get rid of it. It's never at a cost to us.
Okay, sorry.
All right, we have first reading of policies, 13A. Could I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District, upon the recommendation of the Policy Committee, approve the first readings of the following policy: 5695, students and personal electronic devices.
Take a second.
Okay,
Second.
I had a question. before we
Yeah.
go on that.
Yeah, we'll talk about this one for a minute. Go ahead. What's the
Just
question?
really quick, right? It's listing cell phones and all other electronic devices, but we're listing pagers.
It's
and
the
we're listing
recommended.
Two-way.
Communicators.
Yeah, we use the NISBA sample policy, and that's what they recommend. It's likely outdated, but, you know,
But
finally.
when you
it's
say
come back.
all electronic devices, doesn't that cover
Yeah.
listing pagers as a?
I should probably replace pagers with the watches, because people can text on their watches now.
Electronic device.
Yeah.
Anyway, that I just was questioning.
I can talk about this one a little bit, because we did talk about it in the policy committee. This is one that is, as Dr. Long said, is referenced in the code of conduct policy, but not specifically in detail. We've had difficulty with our middle school students, I guess most keeping them off the phones during the day. They're texting each other, they're sometimes pulling each other, sometimes sending inappropriate messages, taking inappropriate pictures, sending inappropriate messages, going to the bathroom to use their phone, even though they've been told not to use their phone. The policy says basically that they're not allowed to use it during the school day, and if they have it, if they're using it when they're not supposed to be, that it can be taken from them and kept, not permanently. It goes in the office, they can get it back at the end of the day. Repeat infractions will have a call home to parents, and a parent has to come pick up the phone. We want to reassure parents that we are in no way trying to keep you not in touch with your kid. If your kid needs to call you, they can absolutely get in touch with you during the day. They can come to the office, you can call them. If there's an emergency, of course, they can use the office phone. What we're trying to prevent is the disruption in the classroom from the students using their personal cell phones when they really should be, focusing on school, and the unhealthy interactions that sometimes happen when middle schoolers have access to cell phones. So are there any questions about the policy?
Just to reiterate, though, it's not just middle schoolers, so if a fourth grader has a cell phone, they're subject to the same.
Oh,
Yes,
for sure.
absolutely. What we talked about in policy committee a little bit was though, fourth graders don't have the audience where most of our middle schoolers have somebody else to engage with during the day. There may be one or two other fourth graders, so it doesn't spin up, I guess, as much as it would. And I do think this will be, and we discussed this as well, start of a broader conversation about the impact on instruction and in management of school. And really, what we are adopting tonight is what's been in place anyway. It just gives us a little bit more teeth and credibility as an administration when we have to have a conversation with a parent or a student. And this will go home along with the code of conduct to our families this year.
And it sounds like there has been a little bit of pushback from parents who are used to being able to get in touch with their kids, and maybe whose kids are upset, and, you know, parents have emotions that go with that. So, you know, we're hoping to get a little bit of education out there, talk to parents, let them know it really is for your kids' benefit that we're doing this, not to punish them, it's not to, you know, limit their access to their parents or to their friends. It's to allow them to focus on their education. And we'll put the policy in place and see how the year goes. It's also, I think, preparing them for high school. Most of the high schools that our students are going to have similar policies. They don't allow their students, some of them have the pouches that disable the phones during the day. So this is getting them ready for what they're going to be facing anyway in high school.
Great.
Any other questions? We have a first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And motion carries. That's our first reading, so we'll see a final reading on our next meeting, which will allow us to put it in place for the fall. All right, that takes us to personnel matters. 14A, revised appointment of building principal. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby appoints Kathleen Wiley to a 4-year probationary appointment as Menands School Building Principal in the tenure area of Building Principal commencing July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2027, upon the terms and conditions set forth in a written agreement between the parties, and hereby authorizes the President of the Board of Education to execute the arrangement on behalf of the board. Agreement on behalf of the board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations. Let's see, item B, substitute teachers fully cleared and substitute teachers BOCES. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby approves the reappointment of all substitute teachers for the 2023-2024 school year who were previously appointed through June 30th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 15, superintendent program recommendations, A, CSE, CPSE recommendations. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby approves the CSE CPSE recommendations as submitted.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 16, student matters enrollment update.
The waitlisted pre-K kids are, is there any movement there or anybody?
I wouldn't expect any movement till mid-August, if any. I think one of the things that happens is sometimes families who have a history with private providers may choose to have a preschooler go there, which will open up a spot for if people move in or out of the district.
We had talked about the potential for increased funding, increasing those spots. Did that not?
That never
Not
came
part
to
of the budget?
fruition in the budget.
Okay.
Either the allocation we had heard could go from $5,400 to as high as $9,600. That would be a game changer.
Right.
Because though we at present still don't have the space for a second classroom, it would give us the option to go to the highest number of students we were funded for, which is 21. But that requires us to add a staff member, and that higher allocation would give us that
Right.
wiggle room.
Okay, that takes us to principal's comments.
Business manager comments.
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped right over that. 17A, business manager's comments. Go ahead, Joanne, sorry about that.
I have two brief items to talk about today, just the audit, as we all know, it's underway. My first time in 7 years having to close out the book, so it's quite an interesting thing. I'm not giving orders to somebody else, I'm doing it myself, and everything's going well. Our formal audit, they were already here for their pre-audit work in June. They'll be coming back at the end of August to wrap up the audit. I don't anticipate any problems. It's going well. But most importantly, I'd like to talk about the summer operations and maintenance work that goes on in the school district. It will never cease to amaze me. I don't care how big a district is or how small, the amount of work a small group of people can accomplish. I'll give a shout out to Kevin and the group that works for him. One of the things we, as a group, sat down and talked about was their hours. Last year, they worked 5 days in a row, 6 hours each day for 30 hours. Well, we didn't like that. We don't think we got enough accomplished. So we sat down as a group and came up with a plan to work 4 8-hour days, which is a few extra hours in the week, but we worked out a schedule of people will get a Monday or a Friday off. So they're going to work 4 days, 8 hours. And it's really work. They do gang work. They've already accomplished more than we could have ever thought in, what is it, the second week in July? They have this wing that we're ready to go for with our programming that started today. They are well on their way to that other end of the building. I forget what we call it. We call it the 3-5 wing, but they are well ahead of themselves. So that's going well. Kevin and I met, and Jen met with our new person who's doing grounds. They started in July. That's going okay. We are going to take down 2 or 3 trees that are right out in front. They are the ones that are dying, not the ones in the main area where we have, and they're dedicated to students that have passed, but the one right out here in the front, the one across the way, and the one right in the area, the courtyard area right in front of the court. Those trees actually are a disease and they're dying. So they don't look great, they look sick. So we are going to get rid of them and then talk about what we're going to replace them with. I might suggest that we wait until the paving is done in the next project, because I certainly would hate to put a tree in the ground and then have to take it out of the ground. I think this one right outside this door would be easily, if we just put cement there and just let that be like an easier up on the system. We don't need a tree right here, right outside this door right there. But we did talk about taking 3 trees down. They are dying, they are going to die, they don't look good. I don't want anybody to be shocked by that when they see it. But that's something that we're gonna try to get done before school opens, to at least take them out. And then we'll talk about how we're gonna replace them when the paving is done, when we have a plan for paving. But I am astounded by the work that this group of 4 people gets done in a 8-week period. It makes me crazy. So they're well on their way, and kudos to them. That's it.
Yep, thank you, Joanne. B, principal's comments.
So June is an incredibly busy time for us here at school, and one of the greatest time is watching our kids celebrate their accomplishments over the course of the year. So we had both moving up ceremonies for our pre-K and our kindergarten students. Lots of parents, lots of smiles, some really, really cute pictures that we shared with families. So just really overall successful. The teachers really take that on themselves. They do all the planning. The office staff helps with some, printing of certificates and things of that nature, but our kindergarten, our pre-K teachers do a nice job celebrating those accomplishments for families and wrapping up the school year with our kids. We had our graduation on Thursday evening. Thank you for your attendance at the ceremony. It means a lot to our families. We had a really pretty incredible class who I would say faced some challenges in their time here with us in middle school. Just, they came back with 6 figures of COVID. That was their welcome back to middle school. But they really have done a nice job coming together as a class. Their families were excited to see them celebrate their accomplishments, and we feel confident that they're ready to move on to high school. And then last but not least, the last couple of weeks in the building have been really quiet. However, today we welcome back 7 of our youngest learners to be with us for the next 6 weeks. And then in another 2 weeks, we welcome back a group of students who will be here with a group of teachers to work on reading and math skills in a project-based setting. Have a little bit of fun, keep your skills sharp, and just nice to have kids back in the building. A big thank you to the guys. Our kids will be down in our primary wing. Those classrooms are ready to go, and we'll be reaching out to teachers to let them know so that they can come in and get set up and get ready. And then last but not least, we will have our STEM program. It is for rising 7th graders and rising 8th graders. Last year it was held at Waterville High School. This year it will be hosted here at Menands. It is 12 Menands kids and 12 Waterville kids. And we partner with Capital Region BOCES and Regeneron to put together a camp for the students. And it is really meant to spark an interest in the area of science and math for students who maybe aren't engaged in those subjects during the school year. This year's focus will be robotics. So we'll welcome those kids on July 31st, and they will be here working with a couple of teachers and different scientists. And Dr. Long and I had the opportunity to go visit them at Waterville last year, and it was the excitement was pretty great. So we look forward to having that here and offering that opportunity to our students again.
What was the age group on that?
It's
Go.
incoming 7th and incoming 8th graders.
Okay, great. Do we know how many 8th graders went to what schools, what high schools? Do we have a
So
breakdown?
we have 3 or 2 students going to Tech Valley. I believe we are now at 2 students going to South Colony. We have 3 young ladies who will be going to the nursing charter school in Albany, and then 1 student going to Waterville, and the remaining will be attending Shaker.
Great, thank you.
Are we doing kindergarten warm-up week? I know it's early in the summer to ask, but are we having that this year?
Yep, we have it on our calendar. We'll do the 4 days of kindergarten warm-up week. That will be the week after we are done with our summer programs. That gives the teachers a little bit of time to come in and set up, because we typically have families in the last day and do a meet and greet thanks to the PTA, and that allows families to come in, see the classrooms, see the grounds, meet each other. Puts a lot of families, I think, their hearts at rest, where they get to see where their kids are going to be and meet the teachers. And then pre-K will offer a similar evening, not necessarily a warm-up week, but a similar evening for families to come in and see the classroom, meet each other, build a little bit of community, and you're up for the school year.
Okay, item C, superintendent's comments.
I just wanted to take a moment to publicly thank the members of the board, the administration, support staff, and the district for an incredible 10 years. It's been quite a ride. So thank you. Key to leave.
We all just
Keeping you in, actually.
Is that the 7:30 clock?
That's our new door system in action.
Okay, interesting timing. Informational material, item B. Is this me? Do I read this? NISBA Board of Ed Leadership Event, July 28th and 29th. Did anyone
I'm signed
say
up
they're going
for
to
that.
go to that?
I have a question, Liz. Are we supposed to sign up for both days, or you can choose which day to go?
I
It is
believe
a
it was
two-day
both
event.
days.
You have to sign up for both.
Yes.
If you're still interested in going, let Liz know if you haven't. NISBA Annual Convention and Education Expo is October 26th and through 28th in Buffalo. That's our RSVP to Liz by August 7th. That's
They
the
haven't
one.
opened that up yet though,
Okay,
but we can let Liz know who wants to attend.
yeah, when they do, if anybody's going, get your hotel, like, when it
With
opens.
the early date.
Yeah.
Get on top of it.
Though Buffalo should be a little bit more manageable, a little bit more reasonable.
Farther down.
Further down.
Okay, miscellaneous, does anyone have anything?
On that same note, Luongo, if you wanted to go to something, NISBA has a law conference that's coming up. And it's the 20th, or the 24th and 25th, half days virtual.
Okay.
That'd be something to attend and listen to what they have to talk about. They go over new laws and things that change in districts. Anybody can actually attend it. It's open for any board member, but that'd be one or two. And there's a virtual option, so. And before it gets long and I have a speech to read,
I do.
I'll just thank Dr. Long for her dedication to the district. I've said it in the past, thousands of kids you've had the opportunity to lead, and you did a great job. You're always fighting for the district. I'll thank you again for that. And I said my funny comments at the dinner, so we'll let it go.
I wrote it down because otherwise I knew I'd forget to say.
One last thing,
Go ahead.
not that you're going to forget.
No, go ahead.
You do owe us something.
The checks make
You're-
special.
No, although I'll take that too. I'll take that too. But the promise made at a board meeting.
I said I would do
from
the
years
duck
ago.
tank at field day.
Fair enough. For those who don't know, go back and look at a board meeting from 4 years ago. Anyway, go ahead.
I did write it down. Dr. Long's been here 10 years, so I wrote down some thoughts I had. She knows, I don't know if everyone here knows, that she was my first boss around 1995. What I don't think she knows is that she was a tough act to follow. The 5 years that I was there, I was a summer camp counselor in Naval Park. And in the 5 years I was there, we had 4 different directors, and she was by far the best. She was the only one that made us do lesson plans, which were time consuming, but immensely helpful in keeping the kids having them do more than lanyards and spud all day. So I was pleasantly surprised to see her face many years later when Evelyn started kindergarten and we became part of the Menands school family. I've always been impressed with Dr. Long's intelligence, her professionalism, but I think her true dedication to the field and to our district really became clear to me during COVID, and I know we're not supposed to talk about it, but instead of retreating like many of us wanted to do, she threw herself into learning as much as she could about how to help our kids. Hours of research, talking to other administrators, other educators, what was working, what wasn't, what was important to hold on to, and what could be let go in order to help our kids and our teachers get through the time. And then the quick pivot afterwards, how could we make up for the lost time? And work to try to help our kids learn to be together again and learn how to sit in a classroom again. She was a rock for this district, and I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful that she's treated our kids like her kids, and that she found a true home here in Menands. I'm grateful for her 10 years of tireless service and her many sleepless nights. I hope you get the chance to rest in retirement, and maybe once you've rested, you'll find an activity that has meaning for you. Maybe you'll even find a way to continue contributing to the profession of education. For your experience, knowledge, passion, and dedication to the field will be missed. Congratulations, and thank you for the many, many hours of your life that you've dedicated to education and to the Menands school community.
Liz already locked the door. She's not
Okay, if no one else has anything, we'll do public comment. We didn't do it before the meeting this time, so please note during public comment sessions, members of the community may address the board on agenda and non-agenda items. The board president may limit remarks of individual speakers to a reasonable time. Speakers must identify themselves and the topic on which they would like to make remarks. Any Board of Education, oh yeah, okay.
DOE comments.
If anybody has anything they want to email us, they can submit comments to doecomments@menands.org.
Liz, do we have anybody on? No.
And no, nothing in the email. Anyone in person want to say anything? Okay, then I guess we will ask for a motion to adjourn Dr. Long's very last board meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
All right.
I tried to count how many board meetings, but I couldn't figure it out.
That's good for people, the extra one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.